Imagine for a moment you're in first century Jerusalem. It's Passover week. The city is buzzing. And then you see him, a man riding into your city on a young donkey, and a huge crowd is welcoming him with all the honors you'd give a king, a Messiah. The hope in the air is just electric. You think, this is it. The week has started perfectly. But then you wake up on Friday, and you see that same man. He's leaving the city now, beaten, barely recognizable, carrying his own cross. The man is the same. The city is the same. The people are the same. But the shouts of Hosanna have turned into screams of crucify him. So you have to ask, how could everything have possibly changed so fast? To get to the bottom of that, we've got to go back to the very beginning of the week. So let's start with Sunday. The week kicks off with what we now call the triumphal entry. The feeling in the air is just this incredible hope, this messianic expectation. This is the moment so many had been waiting for. Now, to really get what went wrong, we need to understand the rhythm of this week. This timeline lays out the key events from that amazing entry on Sunday all the way to the crucifixion on Friday. But it's how this week starts that really sets the stage. See, that entry into Jerusalem, it wasn't just some parade. Every single detail was intentional. Jesus chose to ride a donkey to specifically fulfill a prophecy from Zechariah, a prophecy about a humble king, one who would bring salvation, not military conquest. So right from the get-go, there's this tension. The crowds, they're expecting a warrior king, someone to overthrow Rome. But Jesus shows up as a king of humility and peace. And this gap between what people expected and what was really happening, well, that's the fault line that's going to crack wide open as the week goes on. He came to reign, all right, but not through force. He came to reign through sacrifice. Let's move on to Monday, because this is where you can start to feel things building. After being welcomed as a king, Jesus immediately starts acting with authority, and that's where the friction really begins. As he's walking back into Jerusalem, Jesus does something that seems a little odd. He curses a fig tree because it has no fruit. Now, this wasn't some random fit of anger. It was a prophetic sign. That tree, with all its impressive leaves but nothing to offer, it was a living metaphor for the religious system of the day. It looked good on the outside, but it was spiritually barren. It was a visual warning of the judgment he was about to bring. By Tuesday, the conflict is just completely out in the open. The religious leaders, feeling threatened by his authority, they surround him in the temple. They try to trap him with all these clever questions about taxes and authority and the resurrection. But with every single challenge, he just dismantles their arguments, showing everyone their hypocrisy. He is not a passive victim in any of this. He is in complete control, consciously walking the path toward the cross. And that brings us to Wednesday, a day that's often called the calm before the storm. We don't have any record of Jesus doing anything publicly. It seems like he's resting. But while he is silent, a conspiracy is starting to form in the shadows. The chief priests and the elders, they hold a secret meeting. Their goal is crystal clear: find a way to arrest Jesus quietly, away from the big Passover crowds, so they can avoid a riot. And you know what? Their plot finds an ally from the most unexpected place, one of Jesus's own inner circle. Judas Iscariot goes to them in secret, and for 30 pieces of silver, the price of a common slave, he agrees to hand Jesus over to them. And right then, in this incredible display of contrast, while men are in the dark plotting his death, a woman performs this extravagant act of love out in the light. She anoints Jesus with incredibly expensive perfume, an act of worship so deep that Jesus himself says she's preparing his body for burial. She got it. She understood what the others just couldn't see. Now we move to Thursday night. This is it. This is where the story becomes its most dense, its most critical. This is the beginning of the end. Jesus and his disciples, they gather for the Passover meal. This is the sacred feast celebrating Israel's freedom from slavery in Egypt. But Jesus, he completely redefines it. He takes the bread and the wine and he says, "This is my body. This is my blood." He's launching a new covenant, a new promise. It's no longer going to be based on the sacrifice of animals. It's based on his. Stay with me. This is the hinge on which the entire story turns. A little later, in the Garden of Gethsemane, we see the real, raw humanity of Jesus. He is in so much anguish, such deep distress, that he literally sweats drops of blood. Before the cross was some abstract doctrine, it was a real, terrifying cup that the Son consciously chose to drink in perfect obedience to the Father. From the garden, he's arrested and then dragged through a whole series of illegal sham trials in the middle of the night. He stands before the highest Jewish priests and the most powerful Roman governor. It is a total rejection by every pillar of society. Religion condemns him, politics sentences him, and even his closest friends just abandon him. And so on Friday morning, Jesus is led to a place called Golgotha. The one who came into the city as a king just a few days before is now being nailed to a cross, executed like a common criminal, right there between two thieves. At noon, this strange, unnatural darkness just covers the entire land. Then, at 3 in the afternoon, Jesus breathes his last. And in that exact moment, the thick temple curtain, the one that separated a holy God from sinful humanity, is torn in two, from top to bottom. It's a divine sign. The way to God is now wide open. We have to get this. The cross wasn't just some horrible tragedy. Theologically, it was an act of atonement. What that means is that Christ died as our substitute. He took the penalty for our sin on himself. Think of it like a debt being paid that we could never, ever afford. But here's the truth. This wasn't plan B. This was the plan all along. After his death, a man named Joseph of Arimathea asks for Jesus' body. It's taken down from the cross and it's placed in a brand new, unused tomb. And then a massive stone is rolled over the entrance. Then comes Saturday, a day of absolute silence, a day of suspension. From a human point of view, it looked like all of God's promises were just buried under that stone. The disciples were scattered. They were confused. Hope itself seemed to be dead and buried. But now let's go to Sunday morning, the day that would change the course of human history forever. Because Saturday was not the end. In the early hours of Sunday morning, a massive earthquake shakes the ground. An angel comes down from heaven, rolls back that huge stone like it was nothing, and just sits on it. And when the women arrive at dawn to anoint the body, they find an empty tomb. This changes everything. He is not here. He has risen. This is the announcement that shatters the silence of the grave. The resurrection wasn't just a happy ending to a sad story. It was the public declaration that Christ's work on the cross was accepted, that death itself had been conquered, and that a brand new creation had begun. The king who was rejected was now totally vindicated. And this brings us to the most incredible truth of all. This entire week, from the palm branches to the cross to the empty tomb, none of it happened to make God love us. It all happened because God already loved us. This was the plan, set in place from eternity, finally revealed in time during this one